Greetings. It is December 1st, 2017. In rereading former Kansas City Star art and architecture critic Donald Hoffman's review, published February 10th, 1980, of the solo exhibit of my art, etchings, lino cuts, and woodcuts at the Donald Batman Gallery, which is located in Westport Plaza, Westport Road, Kansas City, Missouri, February 1st to 23rd, 1980. My only conclusion is that some critics of art and or arts don't know how to deal with arts professionals, in my case visual artists, who work in not only in diverse and multiple mediums, but who create a kind of broad number of works covering a variety of themes, and who use a variety of styles and more in the course of having an expansive output of work. This is the was the announcement card. I since legally switched Ken Akiva to Akiva Kenny Segan. Etchings, lino cuts, woodcuts is a reproduction of Dream O Dream of Sailing Ships and Shining Seas, yes indeed, 1979, which was a portrait of a art department classmate, Brad Fugate, lives in Indiana now. On the other side, this actually went to my grandmother, who was alive at 1980. She died in 81 at age, I think, 98 or 99. Anyway, here we have a reproduction of this etching here, so I'll just show that etching, America, 1977. So, Mr. Hoffman's review, it's a short review, 5 paragraphs, in his column called Art Talk. He wrote the following, and then I'll show that. I have 3 of the 4 works he mentions by title. Well, actually, I have several others, but I just pulled out 2 of them. Looks like there's half a dozen mentioned. Printmakers' focus hard to pin down. The first thing that's apparent about the work of Ken Akiva Segan, which is being exhibited through February 23rd at the Donald Batman Gallery, 825 Westport Road, is that Segan really knows what he's doing as far as printmaking goes. Born in 1950 in New York and trained at a variety of schools, including the Art Students League in New York and Washington University in St. Louis, Segan lives in Columbia. He is showing etchings, hand-colored etchings, lino cuts, and a dry point. Apart from his technical skill, though, I am bothered by his radical shifts in feeling. The intensely personal and disturbing figures of such prints as Dreams of the Faith. There's an extant proof I have of this, which is on loan to me, so I was able to get it photographed from the friend who owns it, and hoping to have it donated somewhere soon if they agree to permanently exhibit it, not in a museum then, because most works in art museums just go into perpetual storage. Back to the intensely personal, disturbing figures of such prints as Dreams of the Faith and The Law is the Eye don't seem to have come from the same artist who does the more brittle and decorative sort of work seen in such prints as America, America, and Construction. I don't own any proofs of the Construction etching. One of them is in a corporate collection in New Jersey. Another is in the collection of the School of Journalism at the University of Missouri at Columbia, and it was lost for many years, found by a now retired staffer there who took it home with the intent of having it framed, and she's looking for it. Hopefully she'll find it soon, so that can get up on the walls of the J School, as it's called. Here's a proof of the America, America, singing the song of the George Washington Bridge, which I did as an undergrad in Carbondale, 1976. It's actually a melding of 2 bridges and a building. The building I understand is no longer up, according to a librarian at the Carbondale Public Library in Southern Illinois, who I wrote earlier this year, asked about it. That's the structure on top here, which I used to call Carbondale Granary. Well, I don't recall if it was actually a granary or a kind of like a concrete cement works. George Washington Bridge kind of spans here. It actually has 2 levels, but I only depicted one in the etching and in the drawing which preceded it, and this from a different bridge in New York. Don't ask me which one, I don't remember now. Back to Mr. Hoffman's review. Many of his larger prints rely on a dense tapestry of details in which the whole becomes lost in the parts. A fine exception is Genesis 1, in which the detail is put in the service of a central image of organic growth expressed through a brilliantly subtle range of tonal values. And then he writes number 34 and number 36. I guess the works must have been numbered in the exhibit. But it doesn't state what they were by title. Number 34 and 36 demonstrate Segan's ability to create strong black and white block prints, and a lino cut called The Cafeteria is an exuberant essay in polyphonic color. Well, there you have it, as reviewed by Donald Hoffman, who I hope, if he's still with us, is doing well in his retirement. There you have it. Kansas City Star, 1980. It's now 37 and a half years later. Time moves on. Just in an aside here, I remember some years ago when my mother was probably in her late 70s, I sent her JPEG photos via email of a whole bunch of my self-portraits. And she looked at them all, and she emailed me back that like it was very interesting for her to have viewed them all. She minored in art history as an undergrad, by the way, at New York University, 1937 to 41, majored in English. And she said some of them really look like me. Others, so-so. And some of them don't even look human. I had a feeling she might have been talking about this one here, which has a certain cubistic imagery to it, at least to my portrayal of my head and eyes and eyeglasses and so on. Perhaps even enough so to have given the founders of Cubism, notably Georges Braque and Pablo Picasso, a fright. There you have it, Dreams of the Faith. And America, America, sing me the song of the George Washington Bridge. Actually, it's ironic. I didn't realize this till now. I had pulled this out of a folder that this was written. I had sent this by mail to my grandmother, Sarah Graff, who again passed on at age 98 or 99 at the Workmen's Circle Home for the Aged in the Bronx, New York, 1981. And it was when I was a child growing up in Queens, and we used to drive to the Bronx and then over the George Washington Bridge to visit my grandmother and my granddad in Englewood, New Jersey, which is on the New Jersey side of the George Washington Bridge. The New York side is like Upper Manhattan. And so as a kid, I learned the George Washington Bridge song. And I did the etching in 1976, again when I was a junior at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. And the etching was my homage to the 200th anniversary of the United States. There you have it.